Marcia Garman, and I'm the reference assistant at the American Philatelic Research Library. My job as a reference assistant is to answer requests for citations or resources on items that people are looking for a little more deeper research on or information about. I do research requests.
Hi, my name is Alicia Leathers, and I'm the library assistant. If you've sent an email or submitted a request through the catalog recently, you probably got an email acknowledging that request from me. I also do some requests, like for scanning, if you ask for specific books to be sent out to you. In addition, if you have not sent your books back on time, you'll probably get something from me about that too. I am the one who sends the overdue reminders. That's me. Please send your books back on time. Aside from all that, I check in and process journals, both new and donated, with the help of some very nice volunteers that come in once a week. If we get auctions, like new auction catalogs in, I catalog the ones that aren't name sales, and I process those and get them over there. So if you need some prices realized or need to look up a really old auction lot, I can probably do that.
I'm Marian Mills. I'm the Technical Services Manager at the American Philatelic Research Library. I've been here in the library since 2017. I started at the reference desk downstairs and then moved to this position in 2020. What I do at the library is I manage the physical collections primarily, some of the digital collections, but primarily the physical collections. So the journals, the books, the archival collections. I put it into our online catalog so that anyone can access it to see what we have, and then I organize it and put it on the shelves and make it available.
Hi, I'm Scott Tiffany, Librarian and Director of Information Services here at the American Philatelic Research Library. In my position as Librarian and Director of Information Services, I'm responsible for the oversight and management of the library. That includes staff, volunteers, the resources we have, as well as budgeting and strategic planning. A lot of what I do during the day is responsible for the volunteers, making sure that they're working on projects that we'd like to have them working on, answering questions for not only staff. I also do a little bit of my own reference work as questions come into the library and answering those requests as they come in. In general, I'm sort of responsible for what goes on in the day-to-day here in the library. So things come up all the time, whether it be something to do with our resources or our services. A lot of times I hear from members who are looking to donate material to the library, so I answer those requests. We're always sort of very grateful for members who donate items to us and people just in general who donate things to us, and it's my responsibility to sort of see which things apply to what we need in the collection and what we don't need for the collection.
We have people come in all the time that just are amazed at how many volumes we have here, that this is all on philately, and how many journal issues we have. And that's always pretty, amazes a lot of people, surprises a lot of people. On the other hand, we have some real old philatelists who can't understand why we don't have every issue that was ever printed. So it's it's one way or the other, I guess.
One of the things that I really enjoy about this job, but what makes it difficult, is that there are so many projects to work on. There's all these different things that are happening in the library all the time, from different journal projects, finding things that are missing, adding new books to the collection or new archival things to the collection, figuring out things that we have in the back room that we don't understand or really know why they're there. There's just always a project to work on.
To give you a brief overview of the library, we're in a new facility since 2016. We're in 19,000 square feet here in the Match Factory here in Bellefonte, Pennsylvania. For those of you who might not know where Bellefonte is, it's right sort of in the center of the state. We're easy access off various highways here. The collection itself, we have about 92,000 items in the collection. And when I say items, so that's every book, every journal issue, everything we have in the archives as well. We're a worldwide collection, so there are other libraries that collect philatelic literature, but we're truly a worldwide collection. So as you go through the collection here, We not only have things on the United States, we have things about other countries as well. What's really unique about this library as well is it's in many different languages, so there are materials that are in a lot of different languages. Some of our sections, such as China and Japan, are almost entirely in those languages. But what's really unique for me as a librarian is it's an almost a 90% of the material that we have is donated to us. So we're very fortunate. I've mentioned on previous videos and written about this in the PLR and the AP. It's a really unique situation as a librarian in that we sort of have very generous donors who give materials to us that we can put into the collection. The library was one of the earliest things that was part of the APS, what was then known as the American Philatelic Association. The library sort of was just, at that time, was just a collection of material that was donated by members, much in the same way today, but didn't have a formal sort of building or space, if you will. It was just a collection of material that members of the American Philatelic Association could borrow and use. And that when it got too large, they lent it or they sent it to the Carnegie Library in Pittsburgh. And it stayed there for many years in the 1930s and 40s and 50s. And then over time, the Carnegie sort of needed the space, and they came to the APS then, as it was then known, and asked them what they wanted to do with the collection. And they decided that, for some reason, the APS decided that they didn't want the collection. So it was just sort of left with the Carnegie. And for a long period of time, from the early 1950s till about 1960, there was no library for the APS. And it wasn't until President Edward Willard in 1967 started the idea of we should have a philatelic research library for the APS. And so he got together with the membership, he got together with his board of trustees and decided to sort of come up with the idea of a research library. So he formed a committee to see if the membership was interested in, and the response was overwhelming. They wanted a research library for the APS. And it was in 1968, in October, that it was officially named the American Philatelic Research Library.
Whenever I go do scanning requests, it's always really fun to go look in the old Victorian journals, especially the ones from the 1880s, 1890s. I don't get to go on them that often, but the advertisements are always fun. And anytime I get to go look up information about print history or paper making, that's always fun too.
Some of the unique things that we have here in a library, I'm sure most people know that in libraries we have books, we have journals, sometimes we have maps and photographs. But some of the really cool things that we have things like postal, in our archives, we have things like postal scales. This is one, a gentleman donated these to us. There's about 30 of them altogether. And it's just a really unique piece in terms of postal history and the history of mail in post offices. The other one that I like to show people are postal uniforms. So we get these on occasionally. This is one sort of from the 1950s, I believe. So we get these as well in the archives. It's not something, obviously, that you can borrow or take out from the library, but it is some really unique pieces that we have here in the library.
So we have a lot of really surprising and interesting things in the library. Can I show you one? The mailbags. We have a ton of mailbags. U.S. mail. We have air mail. We have Canadian mailbags. I think this one, let's see. Sweden. We just have a whole lot of mailbags.